We decided to make a film, a documentary about the islands, and we're working very closely with the National Center for Women, and we're very interested in the role of women in the islands, and also how women, can contribute to leadership and governance. What would be a suggestion for a name? Maybe you can ask everyone. Warrior woman.
Women that stand up for their rights, warrior woman.
My vision for women in the Cook Islands.
Encouraging all the mamas or the young ladies.
The young women?
Woman.
Women. It's in our young women.
I want them to have equal say in the world.
To help out in decision making.
Trying to get everybody on board and to make those changes happen.
I want them to be recognised for what they do.
Because I think we're big time leaders in the Pacific.
I want to do women of this country proud.
Leading by example is probably a good thing, yes.
The young women, the girls, we're taking on leading roles.
For me, being a leader is listening to people.
As president of the Cook Islands Chamber of Commerce, I think women have played a key role in business.
As we all know, the council is one of the older established organisations in the country, way before self-governing, and my position in it, the job and where I wanted to move is based on what other women better than me have started in the past.
I've been a former president of the Cook Islands Council of Women.
I tried the best that I can do for my people in those years.
For example, the progression I'm talking about is in the early days when the missionaries were around, the women got together to make their homes all right. And then we came to self-government, and then the women started to want income-generating jobs, and they moved the decision makers, the facilities, the country in that area. And then as we move on, more women got educated and realized, we want more maternity protection, or we want more employment opportunities. And today, we've gone through that spectrum of development of our women, and there's still one area left, and that's we're not leading, we're not sharing, we're not co-sharing with our brothers in the leadership of this country.
To try and get into decision making. Maybe there's nothing at the moment, but the way I see, there are good women who have experience throughout the country that can be in politics, that can be in council members or any community meetings.
I would like the empowerment of women in our country, in the Cook Islands, to carry on. And our leaders, we must have some women leaders too.
According to the Commonwealth Project, we need a gender balance in our politician. The politician now, there's only 2 ladies. So they're not happy. So it's time for the Cook Islands to change. But how are we going to get our mamas? How are we getting the women in politics?
My job involves promoting or campaigning, taking an awareness program to the Painua.
The reason why I stay in the roles that I do is because I have a very strong vision in terms of what the Cook Islands can be and what it can look like. And from my perspective, I think we are a very vibrant country. We've got lots of things going for us, and if we are smart and if we provide the kinds of support that government needs, NGOs need, or any other community group needs, we're going to be able to make a difference, not only in our own countries, but in the Pacific generally.
They say politics is a dirty game, and it really did play a lot of, put a lot of stress on family.
What's priority to the non-government organizations and what's priority to the governments are not the same things.
In this particular role, the policies and the laws that we as a government can enact to, one, remove barriers of women's participation, particularly in the economy and in the workforce, and two, look at ways where we can increase, I guess, their involvement, in particular in the decision-making processes.
The voices and the issues of our women remain consistent on the decision-making tables, as well as to keep profiling the work that they do and the activities that they hold close to their hearts in development forums of the country.
And I said, well, I'm not making any promises. At the moment, I will, if I get in, I'll be in the opposition. But I will be your voice to Parliament, and I will be the voice for all women in the Cook Islands to Parliament. Issues raised on gender balance and that, I will be a voice, a strong voice for that in Parliament. And I will be a voice for the people of this village for Parliament, regardless of who you are.
While we've got outward migration happening, not all of the outward migration is bad, particularly if we're able to ensure that those that do go return and bring back with them their skills and experience, because I don't think our nation can develop without that. We live in a global society, and so we do need to have those experiences that you would get if you were living in another country like New Zealand or Australia.
Yeah, I think in terms of political representation, there is no reason why we cannot expect more women to be involved in Parliament. It's always been a bit of a conundrum to me why in our society in the Cook Islands we have a large proportion of our women who hold traditional leaders roles, posts if you like. More than half of our traditional leaders are made up of women. But when we come to parliamentary representation, the representation is far, far less. So we have to look at reasons as to why that is, and whether there are some ways where we can change maybe the system we have in place to see about having more representation of women at the parliamentary level.
And I think it's that it's within the grasp of Cook Islands women, and that's greater representation in Parliament. So right now, with a seat, 24 seats, there are 2 women in Parliament.
Waiting for 2014, which will be our national election, and also after that will be our local government elections. So that's when we will know the result of what we are doing now.
Currently, our two-party system that we have in place allows a government and allows an effective opposition. And I think through these two parties and the way that they structure their hierarchy, their membership, will be the way forward if we are looking to increase women's participation in Parliament.
The area of change that I'd like to concentrate on is the co-sharing. Bringing in more. I'll say this, the reason I say this is because I've had the opportunity to be in the House of Parliament once, and just one woman in those days with the other one on the opposition side. I found that my male colleagues appreciated me more for the perspective I brought from that side to the issues in the House. The trouble was there was only one of me.
I believe very strongly that the political party system is the way to effect the change within our political system.
We need gender balance towards our decision making to benefit the people of the Cook Island.
The only 2 challenges that faced me during my campaign period was I'm a young person, also I'm a female, I'm a woman. Because this village has always been, politics has always been dominated by male.
Well, women make up 50% of the population. And really, that is an untapped, if you like, proportion of the population that can be contributing in a viable way to our economy.
Some of the community are saying that all mamas, they have to stay home and look after the kids and cook the food. I decline on that one. If that mama can look after that that home, why can't you look after for his island? Why can't you look after the Cook Island?
Women, I found, have a different way of approaching issues, different solutions for the same problems that men face. And by utilizing their input and combining that with men's input, you find that you can have greater results.
A lot of projects and programs in this country, and that it's actually coordinated and run by prominent women in this nation, and everything that women put their hand to, it works a lot of time. It works.
The provision of maternity leave for all working mothers, and that will become effective as of the 1st of January this year. In the past, it was really only mothers working in the public service that had guaranteed government jobs that were entitled to paid maternity leave.
We're trying to take the message out that we're not trying to step over them, but maybe work in harmony.
We support adults on a daily basis at the Creative Centre who are provided with work opportunities and different aspects to enrich their lives more than anything, to make sure that they have a place in society. Having a centre where there is an opportunity for people to express themselves, to become more involved in community activities, whether they are male or female, they become more involved. And for women, I think it's a very safe place to be, and it provides them with different new skills, and probably we are teaching them more cooking skills, more arts and crafts skills that they probably would not have had if they had not been at the centre.
I came every day to the Creative Centre, every day, so I can be with my with the staff to learn something from here. Because I can't stay home with them, I'll get more boring.
Our previous president, who had been the president of that organisation for a long time, for over 10 years, and of course it's Mama Tuki, and she is now in the process of establishing a disability women's organisation. And I'm right behind her, and I'm helping her to get that moving along.
And I love serving my people. Love serving, and above all, I love serving God.
As we grow and develop as a country, we all want better things for our life, a better standard of living for our children.
I suppose I can say that as a mother, change is about actually providing your children with certain aspects and opportunities. So I suppose in some ways, having a mother who is fairly outspoken and involved in communities drives the same kind of thing in your children. So I suppose at a point of change in supporting women would be that that's what you do for your children, is you provide them with those opportunities, and they see different opportunities because you're able to demonstrate what it is that other women can do as well, including their mum, if it happens to be their mum.
Mothers in the private sector, which made up by far the larger proportion of mothers giving birth in the workforce, by and large, especially the low-income earners, were not receiving any maternity leave provisions, no leave and no maternity leave pay. So this law that we will be enacting in the next few weeks will make provision for all working mothers to receive at least the minimum wage for 6 weeks, and also will provide that they will have 6 weeks leave and a guarantee of their employment when they come back to work.
I was a young woman once, and the opportunity came to me only once, and let's say only my grandmother was there to help me take it. But that's a generation gap between us. I feel that by working with our young women now, and having a good group of women who've been through life supporting the young woman so she doesn't fall down will push more of our young women to decide to take up that decision to become leaders in our country.
If any of them came and asked me for help, I will not hesitate to lift my hand up to give them a hand. We have a lot of wealth of talented young people in this country that, their talent could be used to take this country to greater heights than that.
We have to send them to school to become leaders of tomorrow. It's time to send our women, educate them in leaders of tomorrow.
Our young men and men who see their daughters and their granddaughters, they are starting to stand up and help us along this path. But it's not an old event, it's a recent event. But I've also must pay tribute to my dad, who always said to me, push me to take my education as far as I can, because that's going to be my parent one day. Those kind of words from a father tells you that it's a lonely road, girl, but you've got to go through it.
What can I, as a woman, do for this village? I said, well, give me an opportunity to prove myself as a woman, and to show you that I'm just as capable of producing the goods for this village and doing things in this village like any other person, regardless of whether you're male or female or what.
Our young ones over here, and for them to look carefully and see how our little nation can achieve. Because I can see there's a lot of young women, like Undina today, she's young, and there's always other young girls. Now is the time to front up and don't be scared.
It was quite common that it has to be men or guys, young men that always take the leading role or has to make are always in that decision-making type of roles. So it's good nowadays with our lots of generation, lots of young people that like myself, I'm taking on leading roles within various of the youth denominations that I'm involved with.
I want young women to to make a stance and to apply for positions out there, and also to see them go out and take up positions in the world and in agencies.
We need more women in decision making.
So I would say it's really been a woman's own drive to push women.
It's time to change their culture, change their attitude.
You just have to join.
I believe that just a few more women getting into these places of leadership, whether they're in the Island Council or in Parliament or in positions of government, you find that the leading of this country and the decisions made in this country will be more holistic.
For all of the things that we are trying to do in promoting and ensuring that women's rights are protected and that they're full participants in society, for me that one is an ultimate goal that I would like to see happen in 5 years, 10 years' time.
Something that you wanted to do, but you got no chance to do it, but now you're involved in it, so it's good.
No, actually, my vision would be to have a women prime minister. We've never had that, and New Zealand and Australia has started off those as well. I mean, not started, but they've had those female prime ministers, and it would be cool to have a female prime minister for the Cook Islands.
Ipu